Hello, welcome to PS with Jenn. Today we're going to talk about inflammaging, and I can't wait to get into it with you. Sometimes I hear that people say, I feel older than I actually am, or I'm just tired all the time. I have low energy. My workouts are harder than they used to be. I have joint pain or inflammation. And I try to explain to them that they have what's called inflammaging. So chronic inflammation versus acute inflammation are two very different things. We really want to think about the body having different responses of healing and ability to recover. And so think about when you are receiving a vaccination. If you are getting this injection, it's going to create an acute response in the body that the body needs to identify and to heal from. If you have chronic inflammaging, this creates things like more rapid aging, brain fog, hormone disruptions, joint aches and pains. There's so many different variable diagnoses that come along with chronic inflammation that can make us not feel good. So today I want to talk about the variabilities and the differences so that you can, in everyday life, make choices that help you, as we say, empty your bucket faster than you're filling it. We want to make sure that you're identifying where triggers of inflammation are coming from and you're removing them as much as possible, or identifying when it's appropriate to have a situation where inflammation is going to age, but you have strategy around it so that the body heals and recovers as much as possible and doesn't lead to a much larger form of disease or chronic condition. Let's think about things that are going to cause inflammation on a daily basis. So we have, our perfumes and environment, microplastics, glyphosates. We have the ability to live the American dream and be high stress, high, pushing and needing to drive huge outcomes every day of our life. Being someone who rests and takes it easy or has a recovery day is almost something that we need to feel bad about. We're really bad at it. We're go, go, go all the time, pushing to next level, making sure that we're achieving these goals that we may not even need to in order to have true happiness, but this is how we've been taught to push the limits and to always go. So I always love to tell people like, hey, when's the last time you took a break? When's the last time you actually got a great night's sleep? When's the last time that you paused to slow down, to listen to your body and whether or not it's feeling good from the actions and steps that you're taking to stay your healthiest version of yourself? Think about putting our oxygen mask on first for ourselves in order to help other people. And so we want to make sure that in every step of the way that we're identifying where we're pushing, where we're recovering, and how we're preventing chronic inflammation in the body. So when we have acute inflammation, I give examples of, we had a hard workout and we pushed the body to another limit and it felt good. But if you do that every single day, you may end up in a state of what's called chronic inflammation. I see all the time that people say, oh my gosh, I was doing this crazy intense workout. I loved it. It felt great up here, but I started to gain weight. I started to have the reverse of the outcomes that I was looking for. And this is because when we have chronic inflammation and an inability to recover and heal, our messaging, our signaling is going to change. The body doesn't have the ability to process insulin like it normally did. It doesn't have the ability for muscles to recover. We have under-oxygenation. So the muscles become tight and tense, and then we're not driving improved blood flow and circulation and oxygenation to those muscles. And then we have injury, or we have chronic inflammation that will end up into something more serious, more significant. So whether it's, a surgery because we had an injury, we end up in the opposite direction of the goals we were trying to achieve because we've pushed too hard and we haven't had the ability to recover. So when we think about everything, we can do too much of a good thing, we can do too much of a bad thing. We really want to be zoning in with precision and with the ability to identify clarity on what efforts we're putting in on a day-to-day basis and what is going to work, but what's also going to protect our immune system and our body's ability to function optimally. So I'll use one of our treatments. So we always ask when we come in, when people come in for services like Sculptra or dermal filler, it's like, have you had any dental procedures? Have you had, any illness recently? Are you taking any anti-inflammatories, antibiotics? Because the body has to work on healing and protecting you from those things, I am not at that time going to want to inject another treatment. So Sculptra, filler, anything, Botox, Dysport, any of them. I don't want the body to have to navigate filtering out like what one is good and which one is bad, because it can create confusion in the body, and too many things healing at the same time is when we can end up tipping over, overfilling the bucket and ending up expressing genes that normally would not have happened. So we have the ability to think about someone as a whole. They come in and they're just like, oh, my shoulder hurts, or, oh, I think I'm getting arthritis, or, oh, my vision is changing. That's me. I was just complaining about this morning, as those menus are getting a little bit more glossy. I know it's the lighting, it's not me. But that's our inflammation. That's our blood sugar that is spiking a little bit too often. I know that I am putting in so many strategic efforts this year. We've incorporated opportunities to use things like the Sika scale. So I know that I'm not just looking at a scale number, I'm looking at complete body recomposition. Am I building muscle? Am I losing visceral and subcutaneous fat? So that makes my body more efficient. It doesn't store estrogen the same way. It doesn't hold on to fat the same way, because I used to be so inflamed from food allergies and different chronic stress that I was allowing to take on by not saying the word no ever. You want to make sure that you're balancing in your day some different areas of joy and rest and recovery, whether you start your day with a morning meditation and I finish my day personally wiping off the stress from the day so that when I go to sleep, it's my sleep. It's my time to recover. It doesn't carry into my night. I may think of a few things that we need to do the next day before I fall asleep, but I know that they are compartmentalized. They're not going to carry into my night's sleep, because I want to make sure that when I wake up in the morning, my Oura ring is telling me you crushed getting recovered, and that I'm not dragging yesterday into today, that I can be clear, I can be focused, I can be intentional with what I'm doing today. I remember working in the emergency room, and we would see patients of all different ages. Sometimes you would look at someone's license picture and you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're only in their 20s. They've lived a hard life. And then you'd see someone in their 80s and you're like, oh my God, I want what they're doing. And you know that there's a different level of inflammaging that's happening in each of them, because one has aged more rapidly. Their face is older. Their appearance is sickly. They're definitely going to have more chronic inflammation that's happening in their body, which will lead to disease earlier in life. And so we want to make sure that we can identify and listen to these symptoms and these changes in the moment, because when you ignore them because you're so busy, they creep in. They sneak in there. They aren't something that happens overnight. We have different lifestyles, different timelines. I had carried 5 babies. So when I had started with my oldest, I didn't have a lot of other stress. I didn't have a lot of other things going on. And as I continued to have children, I had toddlers at home. I was working the night shift. These are things that maybe, you power through and you help others, but you don't necessarily listen to your body and to slow down and recover in a way, because you're still young and your body's compensating and it's doing the work to recover for you, even though you don't deserve it. And so as we get older, we have more wear and tear. And I know I send actually these messages to my family, because what our parents were able to get away with has changed. What we get away with is not the same. The ingredients in all of our foods, the different spaces where inflammation is targeting us, our hormones are being disrupted so much earlier, and we're living so much longer because of healthcare and because of, our ability to have advancements and the changes of, Western medicine versus functional medicine and biohacking. There's so many tools at our dispense, and there's so much noise of ways that we can support our overall health. We really want to make sure that it's not later in life that we're figuring it out. We're working on prevention and teaching people how to prevent the chronic inflammation and to have slowing of aging happening, so that what they need to invest into recover and to repair and to fix all of the inflammaging that we've created can be less. We can invest more in time off. We can invest more in vacation. We can invest more in healthy foods. We can invest more of quality time in relationships, because we're not needing to spend all of that money on medications and testing and the ability to heal and recover. We want to make sure that we're not taking out the fun in life. If someone wants to be a marathon runner, they would like triathlons, drive me. they fuel me, they make me hungry for more. I want to support that. I don't want to say everyone needs to not live, to slow down, to not enjoy being challenged. I would be so bored. I'm the worst. It can't organize me at all on a slow day. And so I like having that combination of like intentional push and intentional rest and recovery. We want to make sure that chronic inflammation isn't leading us down the pathway of multiple prescriptions that are only band-aiding and causing more concerns, more diagnoses, and that all we have to look forward to at our next visit is a bigger dose. So with all the information that I've given you, where can we identify what's causing inflammation? And where can we make slow, gradual changes? Where can we implement these tools into our everyday life? I know when I actually started learning and identifying about my personal inflammation, I wanted to share it amongst my whole family. I wanted to make change for everybody. I wanted to prevent for my children what I wasn't given the tools to do. And so with the knowledge I've gained on identifying non-toxic pots and pans, using glass containers instead of plastic, making sure that we have our Kangen water system at home and in the office so that I can support my family and my work family living their best, healthiest, hydrated life, and making sure every cell in our body is hydrated optimally and then able to thoughtfully flush out toxins we are going to be exposed to. It's not about living in a bubble. It's not about removing everything. It's just choosing the better option. When you're given a situation and okay, I could go here and eat that fast food, or I could make that at home. I won't say any names, but my kids are lovers of many fast food restaurants, and we are playing hockey and traveling and commuting all the time. And so having these trendy places are wonderful, but we have taught them at home, send me that recipe. Let's make the better version. Let's remove the seed oils. Let's remove all the inflammatory opportunities from there. We'll use actual real potatoes that have been turned into French fries. I can fry that chicken, but I can use olive oil or avocado oil instead of a seed oil that's going to become rancid and cause chronic inflammation in the body. Now, I'm not saying to go start smoking, but can I tell you that smoking a cigarette is actually less dangerous for your body and your overall health than it is to have seed oils at a restaurant. So when you go and you order the chicken tenders and the French fries, know that your body takes over 2 years to process those seed oils, where once you quit that cigarette and it's done, the damage has been completed. We have different scenarios of what's trending is take this gummy, have that vape, do these things. These are all chronic inflammation or slowing of our every cell in the body's ability to work at its max capacity. We aren't taught to go talk to someone and work out, why do we feel that anxiety is there? Why do we feel like we need support and we need a minute for reprieve? It's because we're going. We're not slowing down, and we haven't been given the ability to say, like, I'm having a hard time, and it's safe to speak about it and to get actions that do serve my longevity and do serve me living an optimal life, that my health isn't going to be the decider of whether or not when I retire that I can go travel the world. I'm going to make those thoughtful, optimal decisions about strategy and precision every single day by identifying areas where inflammation is coming in and how I can make sure that my body is functioning optimally, that my workouts aren't challenging my body so much and so intensely that I end up injured instead of feeling stronger, that I'm repairing muscle and I'm giving all of the tools of hydration and nutrients and optimal absorption through a healthy gut. I am taking action to rest, to recover, to ask for help. As a mom and as a business owner and as a wife, you try and be all the things. And I know, for our husbands, things have changed for them too. We want all of the things. We want everyone to be family. And the guys, their role was to be the provider. They were supposed to go to work, bring home all the goods. And now we're like, and do the dishes and bring the kids to sport. And why don't you coach that one? And so we want to change all of these things. Everyone is more stressed. Everyone is carrying a heavier load. We want to be a team and we want to be family, but we've been given this pressure that is different. And it is different from what our moms and dads have. The ingredients and everything that we eat is different. It used to be so simple. And so we have to navigate identifying these areas where we can simplify ingredients, where we can simplify our busy schedules, where we can optimize saying yes to the things that empower us, that build our our ongoing life. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday. It's like, have you intentionally thought of what your long-term and short-term goals are? Have you identified them? Are you clear on them? Is your family clear on what your goals are so they can support you? Are you hanging around people who have similar goals? That's where our society has come from. It's like being surrounded by people who are wanting to achieve the same thing. If you are spending time with people who have opposite goals of you, how quickly do you think you're going to get there? They say you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who are those people you're spending time with? Are they doing the same things that you want to achieve? Are they pushing you to another limit? Are they telling you that you're fine just where you are because it's comfortable? And so I want to push you, but I also want you to recover optimally as well. So I mentioned some of the pots and pans. It took me a year to go through my house and to identify areas. We use plant paper. My kids were like, Mom, you've got to be kidding me. You're changing the toilet paper? I'm like, yes, I am. I want to make sure that you understand, like, there's chlorine and there is different bleaches in regular toilet paper. Rectal cancer is climbing. What is happening? We're inflamed. We have inflammaging. And then we're exposing this high absorption area to another chemical. We have the potential to remove it. Why not? And so again, these things take time. I'm trying to try them all out so that I can share them with our clients, and I can now share them on this podcast so that I can make a bigger impact and help people navigate where they can strategically. Don't go broke. I'm not telling you to get a big loan and to like empty out your house and throw everything away. I really want you to be thoughtful when I'm due for new pots and pans. When I'm heating up food, I want to make sure that I'm not doing it in a plastic container because I'm also eating those. When I'm using dish detergents, laundry detergents, I'm picking something that's non-toxic and that isn't full of perfumes and hormonal disruptors. Our hormones are plummeting so early. These are things that protect. Estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone are protecting us from heart disease. They're protecting us from Alzheimer's. They're protecting us from cancer, and they're protecting us from osteoporosis. And so if you're constantly challenging the body and presenting, these air fresheners throughout your house to make it smell good, well, your body has to filter that out too, on top of the stress you gave it that day and the seed oils that you had on the fly. And so we want to make sure that we are minimizing all of those things and that we are moving and we are getting fresh air and we are grounded and we are separating the day of stress and getting the rest that we need to recover optimally and to stay our healthiest, best self. I love treatments at Powell Studio. We have, the ability to drive beautiful outcomes. I want people to laser in here. I want people to have Sculptra. These are strategic acute inflammatory responses that challenge your skin and challenge your body to heal. They challenge it to stay tight and toned and full of collagen and with, osteoclast formation. That's your bone support so that your foundation of your home, we say that when we talk about the bone of the face, if that is strong, what you need for repair above it is always going to be less. And so when I can challenge the body to create this acute inflammatory response, that's like a short inflammatory response where it happens, it's a good thing, your body heals and recovers from it, and it doesn't take it into months on end. Chronic is when you have just those little microdoses of chronic inflammation that you aren't realizing all at once what damage it's doing to the body. So I love an acute inflammatory response when someone starts retinol and they come in, they're like, oh my God, Jen, I'm red. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. They're like, oh, this is not for me. I'm like, why? When you get to the other side of that response, you are healing, you are correcting, you are making things better. But not everything needs to stay in that state. So I hope today helped you to learn a little bit about inflammaging, how to identify it, how to not ignore the signals your body's trying to give you. It is trying to tell you in a not so nice way, like, pay attention to me. Please don't let my shoulder continue to ache like this. Call Jenn for BPC 157. Don't delay getting in that hocket. You want to make sure that you have support to remove the trigger. I don't want you to stop pickleball. I want you to support those efforts so that you can continue to do the things you love. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us. We always love supporting and growing and learning from you, and your questions actually drive the next episode. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.